Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
Hi everyone, Sue here from 1A Auto, and today on our 06 Honda Element I'm going to show you how to install an upper control arm that is an adjustable type, and the manufacturer is non-adjustable. If you need this part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1aauto.com. 19mm socket, and we're going to break free the lug nuts. You got the pressure of the vehicle on the tire still so it doesn't turn. I used a 2-post lift. At home you can use jack and jack stands. I'm going to take all the lug nuts off and remove the tire. I'm going to spray down the nuts and bolts to the upper trailing arm. I'm going to dismount the ABS sensor harness plate and just pinch those plastic ears, slide it down, and then I'm going to pinch this side. Do the same. There we go. So the bottom air piece that comes out on this control arm, this is a welded nut on that bracket piece that is part of the control arm. So you just have to remove the bolt on this lower part. And I have a 17mm wrench on there. And if this doesn't work, we might have to break out the air. So I'm going to take my 17mm impact socket and I'm going to break this bolt out. I'm going to try to get my long ratchet wrench in there with the 17mm socket. See if I can break this free. There we go. It's so rusted in here. Yeah, there's nothing. I think I'm going to add a smidge of heat to that. So we cannot break the suspension nut free, so I'm going to just heat it up a little bit because we have to reuse that. So let's see if we can heat it up enough to free it. Now with my 17 ratchet wrench and a regular 17 wrench. Okay, don't forget that's hot. For me it is. So you can see that the body goes like this over the bolt, so you can't get the bolt out. But the good news is once you keep working the bolt down the bushing, you can just pry it. The bushing moves with it, so you can get the bolt out. Here we have the new adjustable upper control arm for the rear on this 06 Honda Element. It came from 1A Auto. Here is the factory. You can see it's an 06, so this thing's 12 years old, and the bushing's worn out really quite a bit. I mean, it held on for 12 years, so it's doing pretty good. But so it has the bracket for the ABS. So they solved that on the adjustable by putting 2 threaded holes, and it comes with a kit with a bracket in it, 2 mounting bolts for that, and a new nut for this bracket, because this is a welded nut from the factory. So you reuse a locking nut bracket. So if you need this part or any other part for your car, click on the link below and head on over to 1aauto.com. So now that we got the upper control arm out and we have the new one we're going to install, it's adjustable. So to adjust it to the best that we can to get before we get it to the alignment shop, I'm just going to line it up with the original one and lock the jam nuts in place. So that way I can get there, and it should be close enough. So it's reverse thread on different angles. And the other thing I'm going to do before I assemble this and line it up and everything is I'm going to take care of it by putting some anti-seize on the threads, because I don't want the poor alignment guy getting this in 2 years and having this frozen. That defeats the point of replacing all of this. Plus, it's a good idea. Now you can see exactly how long that bolt is. Heaven forbid it was a small one and you backed it out to here, not unaware that you only had 2 more threads left. That won't support that. That'll snap off going down the road. So let's fill this up with some nice anti-seizing paste, and then we'll line it, measure it, and install it. So I like to use the copper because it has a higher temp rating to it. Not that this part gets hot, but so now I can thread that in. And the jam nut will be lined with the anti-seize. Let's do the top half. And just like with any suspension parts, sometimes tie rod ends, adjustable control arms like this, they have opposite thread. Usually lefty is loosening it up, but you have to have opposite threads for a reason. That's why, because this is the adjuster in there. So these 2 are mounted in the vehicle, solid mounted, and when you have to break it to adjust it and pull it in and out, they have to be opposite threads. Okay, I'm going to break that jam nut free. There we go. My brain says no. It's going the opposite way of what I'm used to. So to assure that I'm going to be as lined up as accurately as possible before that goes to the alignment shop, I just put a punch in all through the top there, line those holes up, and I'm going to use the bolt to line this up. Well, I'm pretty there. So let me show you what I did. So holding this, the ear tab, you can turn this and you'll see that the alignment on that moves. So I'm going to turn it the opposite way and get the threads, the bolt holes to line up. I like that right there. That's as close as I'm going to get it to the factory setting, so the alignment person can adjust this and set it to specs. So I made sure that I lined up my mounting bolts for the ABS bracket, and now I'm just going to snug down on the jam nuts because I don't want this to move while it's getting installed. Now I'm getting ready to install my upper control arm. Line those bushings right up, see if I can get that in. Now the bolt came out this way. I don't see pros and cons to it, so it's easier for me to put it back in this way. I don't have to move anything around. And now I can put the nut on that. I'm gonna grab and mount this up. All right, I'm gonna use my body. a hammer and tap that in. There we go. Now the bottom bolt has a new nut that 1A supplies. And then we have the actual bracket for this. I'm going to put that on last because I'm going to, now that this is mounted, once I tighten these up, I'm going to grab my wrench and really tighten out those jam nuts. So I got my 17 socket and 17 wrench. And I'm just going to tighten this inner bolt tight as I can, because I can't get an air gun in there, and there is no specifications for torque. Now I'm going to move out to the outer bolt. So I lowered the car down on a jack stand, and I put the jack stand right under that lower body support. So I could get the suspension. You want to tighten the bushings, not with it like this, because you want it to be on where the weight would go down the road with the proper load on it. And the load means the weight of the vehicle on this particular section of the car. So if I was to tighten it in the air, it'd be like this, and this bushing would be off at an angle, so when you lower it, it would be twisting that bushing, and that causes premature wear. So the new nut is an 18 millimeter. Then I'm going to use my air gun, and I'm just going to tighten this up because there is no torque specs. Now we're ready to raise it back up, and we'll tighten up the jam nuts and mount the ABS sensor. So now I'm going to tighten the jam nuts, and the big adjuster in the middle here is 1 1/4, as you can see, and I got to hold that steady. I want it to be lined up properly for the ABS wire bracket. So the outside jam nuts are 1 1/16, and I got to make sure I'm going to go the same way. It's very important to tighten jam nuts before you drive a vehicle. Perfect. So now I'm going to mount the ABS plate, and it's not the ABS sensor, it's the harness for the sensor, and it comes with the 2 little flat mounting bolts, and these are an 8 millimeter head. So once I get them started, I'm going to snug those up. Make sure you put it on facing the right side, the correct side, because of the way the bracket's designed. It'll bottom out on the other side. Like I said, that's an 8 millimeter socket. Snug those right up. Now you can see how this bracket's going to fit. The old guide pins are going to snap right in. And there we go. Let's put the lug nuts back on. It's a 19 millimeter socket. Just going to tighten them all down, and I can lower it down and torque it. So I'm going to torque the wheels to manufacturer spec, which is 80 foot-pounds. And always do it in a star pattern. Double check.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at 1AAuto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.